sorrow. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know what set me if it could flee. Me have to take away myself. Me have to take away myself. Me have to hide like a thief in the night. Me have to get out of sight. Me have to take away myself. I have to take away myself. I have to utilize thy wings. Surely I leave where I
Greetings, kings and queens. Welcome to another Real Stuff podcast. Today is Tuesday, and as always, I said to you, if it's Tuesday, there is an election going on somewhere in the United States. It could be a county election, a municipal election, commissioner's election. Some election is happening. If you don't believe me, Google it and you'll see. But today, we have our first CARI African Youth Voices. And today we have youths from Africa and the Caribbean joining us. And we're going to have a discussion. The discussion is going to be various, but we're going to talk about Marcus Garvey. So sit and stay. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Welcome to my panel this morning. I want you to all introduce yourself. As I call upon you, go ahead and introduce yourself. Okay? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can hear you.
All right. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am Shamwait. I am from the country Barbados. I am a student leader in the country of Barbados. I'm also a Christian minister in the country of Barbados underneath the Pentecostal denomination. I
had the opportunity for 1 year to be the head boy of the alley school in Barbados, and I also had the opportunity to be a senior prefect, so basically a leader in Barbados. And today I hope that we have a discussion that will bring edification not only to ourselves but to all those that are listening this morning. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Welcome. Next person. Go ahead, Morgan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Morgan Robertson. I'm 19 years old and I am a political science student. I was born in Surrey in England, and I'm currently taking my gap year in my ancestral home, Barbados, in order to participate in the National Youth Parliament and in volunteer work. Some of my achievements include my previous head girl position at my secondary school, and that I recently graduated college, attaining an A in philosophy as well as passing history and politics. I also recently got accepted into the University of Essex, where I plan to continue my political studies. And I have a strong spirit for the female empowerment movement with a focus on the struggles of intersectionality.
Okay, Theory. Did I see Theory there?
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Good day, my name is Sarah Giddens. I'm from Barbados. I'm 18 years old. I go to school at the law school. I was the former student council president. I love... Pardon me?
Go ahead.
I was a former student council president at the law school for 2 terms. In that time, I focused on helping my school and helping my country dealing with various situations in terms of social student injustice and helping in different categories such as science, such as the development of various clubs so that we could have a better school environment. And outside of that, I was awarded with the Youth Award from Sagicor, um, including some other students, but I was the only male to be awarded with that award this year.
Okay, good, good. Kennedy. Kennedy, can you hear me? I don't think Kennedy is hearing me. Kennedy, can you hear me, Kennedy?
Yeah.
Okay, introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. I don't know if you can be able to get me clearly.
I'm hearing you clearly. I guess the others are hearing you clearly. Are you hearing Kennedy clearly?
Yes, sir, we can hear.
Yes, they're hearing you clearly, Kennedy. Go ahead, Kennedy. Go ahead, continue. Kennedy. Yes, we have some delay with Kennedy.
I can't hear Kennedy.
Yeah, we're having some delay with him because I'm not hearing him anymore.
Hello?
All right, I'm getting you now. Go ahead.
So I'm Kennedy Ochieng. I'm a citizen of Kenya. I am a graduate of bachelor, and for now I am a teacher in agriculture. Maybe I'm also a poet and also a writer, and also a gender-based violence activist, and also a very strong protector of the girl child and also the boy child. When you look at how they're being brought up and also our today's generation, we find that many things are happening. And I'm like now an educator and also a motivational speaker now to the youth.
Okay, thank you, Kennedy. Thank you very much. I see Flavius and Errol Bean is here with us this morning as well. So Flavius.
Morning.
Morning. Top of the morning, sir. Welcome.
Panelists, morning viewers, listeners.
Mr. Bean, want to introduce yourself?
Good morning. I'm Errol Bean. Original Mr. Bean and now the thinking Bean when I ride. Actually on my bicycle, but because today is the 131st birthday of the Black icon, the Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And the youth are speaking. The voices of the youth are the voices of the future. So I look forward to hear what they have to say in the present. Blessings on you all.
All right. So we're gonna kick it off. And Flavors, is there anything you want to say before we get started?
No, just to welcome the panelists and to and to say this is an initiative that we have started so that the youth can speak their mind and tell us what is happening and what they need and what their thoughts are.
Mm-hmm.
What are they looking at? What is not going right? What can be improved? Because the Caribbean is yours. You have to just keep it going and improve it as you go along.
Fair enough.
Basically dealing with the leaders at this age, starting now.
Absolutely.
So that's about it for now. I'll just sit back and listen to the discussion.
All right. Before we start off, I want to play this on Marcus Garvey. I'm going to be dropping tracks in between as we go along, so that can give you an idea as to who Marcus Garvey was. Okay, I'm not going to bombard you with all of the tracks at one time. I'm just going to give you piece by piece. So, are you ready? All right, well, let's go. I get that as a consent then. Silent is a consent for me on this forum, okay? All right, let's go.
The Honourable Marcus Garvey said, nationhood is the only means by which modern civilization can completely protect itself. Independence of nationality, independence of government is the means of protecting.
Not hearing.
I don't know if you're hearing. Hold on. Let me see if I can bring it in louder.
Nationhood.
1 minute.
Not hearing.
Hold your foot.
Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
Hold on to your foot.
The Honourable Marcus Garvey said, nationhood is the only means by which modern civilization can completely protect itself. Independence of nationality.
This audio was sent to me low anyway, so I'm trying to beef it up. But guess what? I'm going to get it for you as I go along. So let's start out with. I'm going to go with the ladies first, or the lady, because I know there was another young lady that was supposed to be here. So I'm going to start out with Morgan.
Hello.
Hi, Morgan. Welcome again. Who is Marcus Garvey, and what does Marcus Garvey mean to you? Oh,
Marcus Garvey is, I think, a very important, influential leader. He is the first national hero of Jamaica. To me, he really shows how much you can do to inspire others. Because he not only inspired people from his own homeland of Jamaica, he also inspired those from Harlem in New York and across the globe, essentially, which is, I find, very powerful, to be an inspiration to Black people everywhere, to uplift the whole nation. Yeah.
Okay, good. Who next? Let me see. Sam?
Shem.
Oh, Shem.
Yes,
Shem. Sorry.
Yes, please. Marcus Garvey, as Morgan said, a very influential person, especially in the history of Black people. And I believe that people such as Marcus Garvey should be put into the education systems as for children to understand where we come from as a society, not as a society of Blacks, right? And one of the things when I researched who was Marcus Garvey this morning, I got the call late, right? So I was not familiar with the absolute familiar with who Marcus Garvey is. So I was disappointed at that. However, I went to do some research. And this morning, it told me from BritCanada.com that Marcus Garvey urged Americans or African Americans to be proud of their identity. And so for those who are listening, for those Blacks who are listening, and not only Blacks, but I want to ask them the question, are you proud of your identity? That is a question that we have to ask ourselves, and we have to ask our children, because it is important that our children be proud of their identity, be proud of their culture, no matter the culture you come from, but always be proud of the identity you carry, right? And it's important that he comes from the country of Jamaica, right? The country of Jamaica to the United States. And I believe we all know how Jamaica is. We know Jamaica is a proud country. They're proud of their culture. They're proud, and I want to congratulate all those Jamaicans who are listening with the Olympic results and everything. I wish I could be like those people. I'm not one to be like I'm not one to be be obsessed with sports or anything like that, but I want to congratulate, and I believe that we all, such as those girls who went and show their culture, show what their country has, right? I believe that we all from different countries should show what our country have. And then it also says that that he encouraged the African Americans that they should have hope in who they are, and he created the National Association of Advancement of Colored People, which deals with the abolition of segregation, discrimination, housing, education, employment. So we have come a long way. We as blacks has come a long way. So we should be proud, and we should take up. We should have that urge to have education, because there were sometimes where we did not even have the opportunity to have education. There were sometimes where we did not even have the opportunity. We had to get up a transportation, in bus transportation to we had to get up for our seats to give the whites, you understand, a seat. But thank God for Rosa Parks. So we've come a long way, and that is very important. And I wish that this type of people will be mainly focused on, especially in our history classes, in the primary schools, in the secondary schools, and even tertiary education. So that is my part for this segment.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Theory, you want to go next?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, go ahead for me.
What does Marcus Garvey mean to me? I grew up in a very, I would say, proud black house. So from a very young age, my parents, my great grandparents, always taught me about Mansa Musa, my father, my grandmother, Mansa Musa, Marcus Garvey, and that kind of stuff. So my perspective of this is a very personal perspective on Marcus Garvey. So the first time I ever heard of Marcus Garvey, it was a book. My grandmother has all these shelf of black history and black books. So I read Marcus Garvey's philosophy. With that being said, he has some words that are very powerful, speaking to the aspect of black people. But in Marcus Garvey's time, before we really, I would say, became awakened to what Africa is, and the Caribbean and America and the unity of Africa, the division was there, as Shem said. With it being said that Africa was just placed only meant for what's the word I'm looking for? Scavengers. It's a poor place. The true history of Africa, the true reality of Africa was not foreseen before Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey put the black people in a position whereby they could be more empowered and see that they are not somebody's calf or slave. Now, we as black people have come very far. And to me, it is because of Marcus Garvey and the vision that he had for his people. Now, there have been other leaders that have had this vision, but no man has ever had a vision, the perspective of seeing a unified Africa whereby persons won't have to go from, speaking for the aspect of Barbados, you have to go to America, then to go to England, then to go to Africa. Shouldn't be. Maybe when Barbados and the other Caribbean countries are so close to Africa. So Marcus Garvey, in that time, the travel, the economics, the perspective of social unity and culture was his vision. And to me, Marcus Garvey is still alive today in the policies that we try to make as leaders, the leaders of our country. But we need to do better, in my opinion, and not look back at the past as a way to say that we have lost the battle of being better, but look at it as a perspective of what we don't want, what we want, and understand that Marcus Garvey is, I would say, the bridge to that future.
Okay.
That's my perspective of the matter.
All right. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that, man. You come from a proud black family. I want to ask Mr. Bean, if you want to chip in on this a little, and give the youths them some more enlightenment of Marcus Garvey philosophy, if you can.
Okay. Well, I am not a qualified Garveyite like Professor Lewis and my wife and so on. But Marcus Garvey, just at the top of my head, is the person who inspired that very important set of words. Free yourself from mental slavery. Only we can free our minds. And those of you who know about the iconic Bob Marley, the legendary Bob Marley, those words were put into music, and it became one of the words, set of words that black people use every day against the backdrop of enslavement of our people of African descent. The mental slavery hangs over us still. And those words by Marcus Garvey are among the best words and popularized by Bob Marley. And so I say to us, if it weren't for Marcus Garvey, many of us would not see ourselves as real people. As one of the speakers just said, I forgot which one, Africa was seen as just dirt, scavengers, and maybe monkeys and some wild animals. But yet they exploited Africa and took out the riches. So Marcus Garvey, in a nutshell, it's difficult to put him in a nutshell. He was ahead of his time. And we know he challenged the system, he challenged the American system, and as history would note, he was framed. And even now, Marcus Garvey's name, there's a criminal record. And so part of the drive now is to get Marcus Garvey to be exonerated. And we thought that Barack Obama would have led this. Yes, I'm not saying he was right or wrong, or he couldn't, or he didn't, but he didn't. And we still need the American Parliament and the Congress and Senate to exonerate Marcus Garvey because he was framed, as far as we know, and he has a criminal record. Marcus Garvey, born in St. Anne, and today is the 134th birthday of his Earth Strong, as we say. And so we give thanks to Marcus Garvey. Because of him, we can feel confident that our blackness is beauty, and that we had kingdoms before we were taken to the Americas and the West Indies. We give thanks to Marcus Garvey.
True. Thank you very much for that. Kennedy, I want you to come in on this. Kennedy, our brother from down in Kenya, Africa continent. Marcus Garvey. What does Marcus Garvey means to you, and how much do you know about Marcus Garvey?
Thank you very much, Franco. I appreciate for this particular opportunity. Now, when I sit down or when I stand looking up and start framing the name Marcus Garvey, I look at him as somebody. You have a father, you have a mother, but another person's father stands on your father's behalf now to support you. Marcus Garvey was standing in Jamaica. He was standing in London. He was standing in the Caribbean countries now talking about now the black man. And he wanted now independence for the Africa be on our own. We could depend. We are very rich in all. There's nothing that can bar us from now being independent, from now making our own thing and not depending on now the white nation. So you find that with the activism that Marcus Garvey was supporting about the Ku Klux Klan, about now the Garveyism now notion or the ideas, we borrow from him and we look at our continent Africa and we ask ourselves, what do we have that the whites don't have, or what don't we have that they have that is special? And now, even now, when it was coming to his framing, because I can say it was framing, somebody, you are being fought now because you are fighting for the rights of those who are the commoners, for the common people, the people who are down. And now they don't want us to rise up. They just want us to stay down so that they can continue suppressing us. They can continue feeding us the lies that they brought from their nation. And that is now what Marcus Garvey was fighting for. He was fighting for the color. He was fighting knowing that we are special. We are gifted. And from now, our intelligence, from our wisdom, from our mother continent, that is Africa, we can show other continents that we also are people. We are not animals. We are not things to be used. We are not vehicles to be boarded now so that it can take others somewhere. So when I look at Marcus Garvey and look at my continent, Africa, we are still very back. But we'll not continue continue sitting down. We have to rise up. It is us to do it. He had initiated the project, but now it is us now to continue pushing the wheel to ensure that his dreams, just like the same as the dreams of other like Webb W.E. Du Bois, who were the Pan-Africanists, we can realize what they had and we can take from where they left it.
Thank you, Kennedy. Well said, Kennedy. Yes, there's a long way for Africa, the continent of Africa, to go. And as
Can I
Bob
say a few
Marley would
words,
say,
Doctor?
yeah. As Bob Marley would say in his song, Africa unite. It's not only Africa need to unite, even the Caribbean have to unite. Come on in, Flavius.
Yeah, I think it is very ironic how we have created this platform for the youth, the CARI FRICAN platform for the youth. I read some time ago that when the countries of Ghana and Kenya send two of their bright youngsters to study in England, that was Jomo Kenyatta and Kwame Nkrumah, sent them to university in London. And on their first, I think it's their first or second summer holiday, they did not return home. What they did, they found money and traveled to New York City. Reason? To sit at the feet of the Honourable Marcus Garvey. And they ended up being two of Africa's biggest and brightest leaders. As far as the whole unity of African and whatever. So they got some appearance with Marcus Garvey. We don't know what they discussed, but it must have been good. Must have been good for them to travel that distance, pay all that money just to speak to Marcus Garvey. A little black man like themselves, but from a small place like Jamaica. So he was well respected by everyone for a very, very, very long time. And we in Jamaica and the Caribbean, I don't think we are giving him his due at all. I mean, you hear words about it, but not in a wholesome way. Like one of the speakers said, it should be part of every school curriculum in the Caribbean. I just thought I would let you know that our youth thing, it started long, long ago with the help of Marcus Garvey.
All right, thank you, Flavius. Let me welcome Francine, another member of our podcasting team, to the forum. Francine, welcome.
Good morning, one and all. It's a pleasure to be here, just tuning in, listening, and hoping to learn a lot from you youths today.
All right. So I want to touch. I want to hear individually from each member of the panel individually about Black consciousness, because that's one of the things Marcus Garvey, wanted us as a people to be aware of our blackness, to be proud of our blackness. So I'm going to start off again. I'm going to start with Morgan as our second female to the panel or to the discussion. So Morgan.
Yes. So Black consciousness is so important. We must know, as a people, we must know who we are. We cannot achieve much if we do not know ourselves, who we are. Everything powerful that we can do, because we can achieve so much as a people. But you see, unfortunately, throughout history, people have been trying to steal everything from us. They've stolen us. They stole Black people from Africa and taken them to the Caribbean and the Americas. And they have, exploited Africa for everything, its people, its resources, everything, right? But despite all of this, as Marcus Garvey has said, they can shackle us, they can chain our bodies, they cannot chain our minds. That is part of us. We will always have this, right? So we must know who we are, where we come from. We must always be free mentally as we are. So we must, through education, through being, one as a nation, one people, through understanding this, that we are all one nation, then I feel we can free ourselves from this mental slavery and know how much power we do hold in ourselves, know where we come from, know how powerful our history is, because that's what Blackness is. Blackness is power. So, yeah.
Here. Shim?
Yes, please. When it comes to Black consciousness, it is recorded according to the AfricanAmerican.org that Black consciousness was first used by a man by the name of Stephen Biko in 1971. Right? He was inspired by what who we're speaking about today, the name of Marcus Garvey. It is important because when we speak about Black consciousness, sometimes we as Black people want to be like the white people. I don't want to sound racist or anything, but we want to be. It is said that the only way out for Black children or for Black people is education. I want to differ from that because the only way to me, right, when it comes to Black consciousness, the only way to me that Black people can make it out is not only by education, but it's by creativity, right? Because even when we have the education, we're still working under the white person, right? But when we are creative, we create something and we are recognized as Black people who are creative. And it's true that we Black people are creative, but sometimes we underestimate ourselves by looking at other cultures. We must embrace our cultures, as Morgan said, as knowing who we are. There's nothing else that speaks about Black consciousness than understanding who we are as a Black people. We must understand, and if there's anything that you have not heard me say, for those who are listening, is everything that we do is we need to understand who we are, where we come from, because that is who we are. That is who we are defined by. You understand? Don't underestimate yourself. So that is it for me there.
And I love that. Who we are and what we are under the sun. Yeah, we have to be conscious of it. Theory.
Black consciousness to me is something more modern for today's aspect. And we could look at, as I said before, Mosiah, we could look at what we're talking about, Marcus Garvey. We could look at all the persons that did it before. But to me, the real effect of this discussion needs to look at who's doing it now. Recently, Rihanna became a billionaire. Jay-Z and Beyonce, if you watch what they're trying to do, they're trying to position themselves, as I would say, the next Black royal family. So to me, who we are looking at, we need to understand that there are people who are doing things to empower Black people. There's a group called Earn Your Leisure. What they're trying to do is that they're trying to help. They're spreading to the Caribbean now. With Usain Bolt, because you could check on Instagram, you can find it. But what they're trying to do is empower Black people to understand finances. Some of this I discussed last podcast. But to not stray away from Black consciousness. Black consciousness to me is similar to what Shem said, being creative. But regardless of the creativity, we must understand in oneself that we are great. Some person may say, if you come and say, he's the greatest, I am the greatest, I'm the best, nobody can stop me, you being condescending or cocky. But to me, if every Black person position themselves to see that, look, yeah, it's the greatest, it's the best. Like, there's nobody like me. Our black people will rise above the scramble in Africa of 1884 when they divided Africa and the situation that we have today. We will rise above the fact that Willie Lynch, who wrote the slave code, so how we slavery happened, we will rise above all this here. Because what they did is still affecting us today. Moshaim said that some persons, black people, want to be like white people. I don't disagree with you, because as you know, the caste system is still in place whereby the house slave is still the house slave. Everything. I don't know who that offends, but it's the truth. Right? With that being said, I believe for us to break away from the standards that we still have, for example, beating children, that's a part of slavery, right? These kind of things. We need to see ourselves again, individually, as the greatest, and as the only way black consciousness could be the best.
Thank you, man. Thank you. The great Muhammad Ali said that in the 60s when he was boxing, he had was to tell himself that he was the greatest, because black people at the time weren't allowed to even have music play on the radio. They would do a song and it would be copied by a white artist and become a major hit. So I like that part, you know. We have to tell ourselves that we are the greatest. Kennedy. Let me touch you, Kennedy, in Africa. Come on in. Black consciousness.
Thank you. Now, when I talk about the black conscious,
you're freezing up on us, Kennedy. Kennedy, you want to turn off the camera so you can get the audio working? All right. Let's get to Flavius, and then we come back.
We find that we are supported to a particular just black time. You will only count the black man. You will count the African whose origin comes from Africa, from the black soil. So when we now glue our consciousness, you find that people are now even changing the color of their skin. You know, it is not that now we want to be like them, but some people want to be them. And we African, we cannot be white. You can change the color of your skin. You can change your name. You can change your identity, but you will not change the truth that you are from Africa. You are black. Now, the most powerful thing, the most powerful tool that we have is our conscience, our intelligence, our minds. And no one need to, somebody can take you just the same way they took Marcus Garvey to prison. He was jailed, but they forget about one thing. They did not jail his mind. They did not jail his vision. They did not jail his dreams. And so we have to bring back our consciousness. We are educated. We have resources. What can we do with all these things? Can we still continue depending on them, using their mind? They print books. We can do that. They give us stories. We can give them our stories. Chinua Achebe, the greatest author from Ghana, from Nigeria, once said that the story of the jungle will continue to be told by the lion. Until that particular time now, the lion will constitute a body now to write the story of the jungle. The story should not be told by the lion, the king of the jungle, but it should be told by the people who are present in the jungle. We have to get out of the mental slavery. We have to get out of jailing our minds, out of jailing our ideas, now that my voice will not be heard. Nobody knew that Marcus Garvey's voice will be heard. He just started just like now. We are doing it here. And as he continue progressing on, the urge now to reach the world was keeping on. It was like a river. You cannot prevent a river from flowing. You'll put an obstacle to it, but it will continue to flow. The water will continue to flow, and you will not deprive people who are at the other end from getting water. And so, when I talk of the Black consciousness, I'm talking about now getting up, getting out of the comfort zone that we have, that we need to be fed. When you hear now the stories about Africa, mention cholera. It is they'll tell you the malaria. They'll tell you about Africa, and they'll tell you about the images about the black person. When they tell you about famine, now people don't have food, poverty. It is only the images of Africa. Does it mean that the whites don't face all these things? So we have been fed with the lies, and we keep on believing that we are the definition of poverty, famine, and all. So that's the Black consciousness that you have to get out of that.
All right, Kennedy. Thank you, Kennedy. Flavius and then Francine next.
Well, one other thing I would like to say is that we're always been written about. And now we are starting to write about our experience, our journey by us. But one area that we are still way behind is the electronic media, television. We need to be producing our own content. And this is something I wrote about some time ago, that for the Caribbean to start moving ahead, we must strive at this point for a minimum of a 50-50 or even a 60-40. Right now, it's like a 99-1 content coming from outside, coming from the people who are oppressed us most. And we're not producing any content. So platforms like this will allow us to get the confidence to start producing our own content. We should be having Caribbean content on all the airwaves at very high comparison to what we bring in. Right, we bring in almost everything that we watch on television. Except for sports, some sports, not much else is there. And like someone says, one of the panelists says how creative we are. And we are very creative, but we need to go the full way. We can't stop halfway. We have to be producing these things and find a way so that our television stations and all that will be, and our radio stations will be playing our content more. 98% of everything should be our content. And then we can bring in something from the outside so we get a little balance. But we need to look at that. Writing, television, films, all of these things. We have to be telling our own story in all forms. And we have not been doing that at all.
All right, Francine. Francine, are you there? All right, let's go to Mr. Bean, and then we try back Francine.
Okay, still on my bicycle. I appreciate the voice of the youth and the maturing youth on this subject. Speaking about Black consciousness, launching out from what Kennedy just said about writing, we give thanks to the revisionist historians, those persons who are writing our history from our perspective. persons like Professor Vereen Shepherd and others, the new idea about who we are as Black people, books are being revised and being reintroduced into our education system. Black consciousness, for me personally, means that I have to accept myself as a Black man, as one of the speakers says. And I may just put this in the mix. I'm a Christian for some 50 years now, but a few years ago, I started delving into the revisionist historians, what the Black Afrocentric writers were saying. And I have now branded myself as a liberated, enlightened Christian. And part of my goal through my music or through my poetry is to decolonize the gospel which the Europeans hijacked and presented to us a white Christ. Now, I'm not getting into the black and whiteness of the Christ as he walked on the earth, but I'm just saying our religion, our authentic gospel was hijacked by the people of Europe, the white people, who told us that God is white and presented a white man to us as the Christ. Now, as a liberated Christian, I have tried to use my music. So, for example, not to promote, I don't promote my music, but I have done a piece called I Man is a Black Man out of Africa, with some.
Seems like we lost Errol there. Okay, let's see if we can get Francine now. Francine?
I'm here. I was trying to find the unmute button, couldn't find it. But I have been listening and I am so...
You unmute yourself again. There you go.
Yeah, man. All right. So I was saying, thanks for the unmute, because I was looking for the mic earlier. It's amazing to hear how youths are now involved and they are more conscious of what is happening nowadays. We have to actually accept who we are, know who we are, because other race, they have accepted who they are. You know, it's just that it's a pity to know that blacks are always having an issue with accepting who they really are. You know, so as I think it was Kennedy who mentioned persons trying to bleach their skin, but we can't hide who we are. We are naturally black. And as soon as we start to accept that, then we won't have so many low self-esteem, because you can look and see that a lot of persons have low self-esteem at times and they don't think they're pretty enough. They don't think they're as good as the others. And we try to match up with persons wearing, if we just accepted who we were from before, you know, then we wouldn't face those problems when we turn adults. So I'm so happy that our younger generation are starting to look up and understand and accept. And it's a beauty to hear these youths talking out like this. I am so impressed, and thanks again.
Yes, indeed. I think earlier, Shem, I get your name right?
Yes, please.
Okay, I think you mentioned something about creativity, right? We as black people are creative, and you're more you have nothing. It's not that you were against getting an education, but I remember when I was in high school, one of my science teachers said something to us, and it was referring to about earning our own money, and then getting involved in a youth club in my community. There was some member of the youth club was, you know, teaching us about Marcus Garvey. That's how my whole teaching on Marcus Garvey started. And one of the things that fascinated me at the time was when Marcus Garvey said, we as a people must have our own economy. And what it meant was we must be creative by not only creating stuff, but have things that other people can purchase from us. Like if they make the shoes, we must make the shoelace that they can buy it from us, or vice versa. If we make the shoes, them have the shoes lace, them have to buy the shoes because them need the shoes. And growing up over the years, I have seen a lot of men in my community and around other communities started doing things for themselves. Like there was shoemaker, tailor, mechanic, you name it. But you know what happened? Our community didn't help them. And I say help them in the sense we didn't purchase from them. We didn't take our cars to them. Because guess what? We were always depending upon the guy outside of the community, because they might, have a posher mechanic shop, or the shoemaker man in film store set up much better. And that was one of the things. I remember in 2014, I was in Jamaica, and I was heading to Ocho Rios because they had a Marcus Garvey celebration down there. And on the radio was Muta Baruka, and he was just giving us a statistic of how Jamaica is at the time. And he was saying, all right, say 2.5 millions of us is the population of Jamaica, black people. You name me one rich black man. And when I say a rich black man, somebody who make his money out of the economy of Jamaica, a rich black man. Mm-hmm. And he asks callers to call in and tell him, and nobody call in and could tell him. Mm-hmm. But yet still, he could go down on the list of names of all the different groups, ethnic groups in Jamaica, from the Chinese to the Indians to the Germans to the white, you name them, to the Jew. They were making money off of the backs of black people in Jamaica. But you could never find one black man who was making money. And one of the things that he brought up was the same thing I just said earlier. We weren't helping the guys in our community who were mechanic, tailors and things. Because when you spend your money in the community, if I come to Flavius, because Flavius have a shop and I buy the flour from Flavius, down the road, say Morgan, she owns a flour mill. Flavius have to go buy the flour from Morgan. And further down the road, there might be Shim who might own, say, like a sugar factory. Morgan have to buy the sugar from Shim so she can sell it to other people. So the money circulate in the community. Yes. And that's what black people have to start doing. Building their own economy.
All about commerce. Yes, your own commerce.
Yeah, we have to start doing that.
And if I may come in here, I want to say that I don't want to put a blame on the governments of let me just say the Caribbean on the Caribbean. I don't want to place blame on Caribbean governments. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is important. We are based, and that is one of the things that we as black countries must understand, that we should not only be based on tourism, right? We shouldn't be only based on tourism. We have plenty of resources as Caribbean countries, and even in Africa, we have plenty of resources. We have agriculture, especially for people that are in the rural communities. So when we have people that are coming in, or let me just say people that are coming in from the other countries, yes, it will bring in GDP. Yes, it will bring in foreign exchange. But the government should put something in place to bring an emerging of some entrepreneurs, because we have entrepreneurs that do agriculture. There are people that wants to do agriculture, because we can start doing our sugarcane, we can start doing our ground provisions and everything. So it is a place where that the government should put a restriction somehow. I don't want to say a full restriction, because yes, at some time we're going to need foreign exchange. Yes, we're going to need to improve the gross domestic product. However, we need as countries to bring trying to emerge our own entrepreneurs that in the place of how when people come in, they're getting all the money. Yes, they have to pay taxes, and sometimes some people might not even pay taxes, but I'm not going to go there. But I mean, it is a place where we must have emerging entrepreneurs. Look, in Barbados we have young entrepreneurs who are doing here. Some people feel like, where is the government putting the resources or the places that they can emerge? We have a lot of young talent in Barbados, young talent in the Caribbean countries, young talent in Africa. We can emerge, but sometimes we as Caribbean countries, to me, let all other people come in and take over our countries build enterprises in our countries, but yet still we have young people that can emerge. So that is something that I believe should be worked on, if you understand what I mean.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And one of the things I think, as a people in the Caribbean, commerce is one of the things that we have to start doing. Start trade with ourselves more better. In the 70s, when the CARI was formed, there were some leaders at the time, and those leaders, as we would say, they have balls. Right? And they were determined to make sure that each and every one of them trade with their neighbors. And one of the neighbors that couldn't trade because the embargo was on them was Cuba. We would call Cuba, but it's Cuba. And under the leadership of Forbes Burnham and Michael Manley and some other leaders, they said to America, you can't tell us who to trade with in our Caribbean because Cuba is still a part of our neighbor. And, they trade different doctors. That's how doctors from Cuba all over in the Caribbean. You don't necessarily have to trade merchandise, but, people, go support, education, pass on knowledge to other, Caribbean countries. And I think we as a people, we need to get out of the pockets of the government. You understand? We stop depending on government to give us a handout in order for us to move on. We have to find resources. There's natural resources all over that we can find. Because tourism, as you said, should never be one of our main resources, to get foreign exchange. And I agree with you. Anyway, yes. That brings us to the end of our CARI FRICAN. CARI FRICAN. It means Caribbean and African Youth Voices. Voices of Caribbean and African youths. So we thank you all for taking time out. I know it's evening where you're at in Ghana, in Kenya, right? So for Kennedy, thank you very much for taking time out. Want to thank Theory as well, Shim, Morgan, and Mr. Bean, Flavius, and Francine for being a part of this program this morning. And so we ask those in the chat room this morning, those who didn't participate, we thank you, for taking time out as well. And for, listening to the voices of the youths from the Caribbean and Africa. And so I'm going to ask you, remember to subscribe, like, and share the video. The object of this channel is to educate and entertain as well. All right, guys. So until next time, take care of yourself, your loved ones, and remember that prayer changes things regardless of what religion you belong to. Continue to pray. Francine.
Hey.
Before we go, I want you to cap it up for me with these youths.
I want to encourage each and every one of you to continue being positive, hold your heads up, and make the best of life. Whatever it is that is coming in the future, we know nothing about the future. However, we can put plans in place and make some good decisions. We don't need to be followers of negatives, but let us be positive leaders and we can set examples for others to follow. Have a blessed day. Keep safe.
Thank you.
Well, this one is a bombshell.
And that one's for all of you. All of you are bombshell, All right? I'm going to close off with a song here. I want us, it's from a young lady. This morning I found it. Unfortunately, I couldn't play some excerpt that was sent to me with words from Marcus Garvey. I get like about 13. And the audio was very low, so I tried to beef it up, but it couldn't work. But I want you all to, keep this in mind, proud of your black skin.
Ba ba do ba do ba da de da de da de da ba ba do ba da do ba ba do ba da de da de. Color of my eyes, color of my skin. Black is my kin, I ain't apologizing. Color of my eyes, color of my skin. If black is a sin, I ain't apologizing. Color of my eyes, color of my skin. Black is my kin, I ain't apologizing. Color of my eyes, color of my skin. If black is the sin, I ain't apologizing. Captured us from our homeland, sold us into a foreign land. What woe, what pain, what misery. 400 years of slavery, shackles, scars, and degrading. Color of my eyes, color of my skin. If black is the sin, I ain't apologizing. Color of my eyes, color of my skin. Da 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 da. Color of my eyes, color of my skin. Black is my kin, I ain't apologizing. Color of my eyes, color of my skin. If black is a sin, I ain't apologizing. Robbness of our heritage and history. Brand us like animals, they scarred us mentally. Used us for entertainment and debauchery. Destroying the family. Let's fight the demons of slavery.
Yes, so bear that in mind. Black skin, okay? From an artist named Tasha Williams. And so with that, we're going to end and we're going to ask Tafina to take us out of here with Take With Myself. Until next week, guys, take care of yourself, all right? All right, one love.
One love, sir. Have a good day, everyone.
Okay.
All you gotta do is just speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know send me if it could flee. Me have to take away me say. Me have to take away me say. Me have to hide like a thief in the night. Me have to get out of sight. Me have to take away me say. Have to take away me say.
When this one is a bombshell.
Shorty, I